Oh yeah.
Like butter, baby.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Check 1 2 1 2. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Check 1 2 1 2. Yo yo. Everything seems low. Give me a test real quick.
Check 1 2. This thing gone. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this, what is it, Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Yep.
November halfway over already.
So it'll be 2024 before you know it.
Man.
Yeah, something's going on over here with this. Let us know if you can hear us pretty well. I'm seeing the radio channel super low. Something's going on with the volume here with everything. So let us know how we sounded.
Okay, I will say, on my end, the music sounded kind of low, but it sounded a little better. Pop's coming in the chat saying looks and sounds great. So, yeah,
right on.
Let us know, y'all. Keep us honest.
Appreciate you guys getting up early with us. Kimber Snipe says good morning, y'all. Good morning to you. Pop says good morning and a wonderful Wednesday to all. Mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Leah Keister gives us a what's up Wednesday. I like it. Amir Sanchez says you like butter, baby, on a roll.
Yeah, man. Like butter.
Mama God says good morning, First Guy fam. Good morning to you. Miss Erica Fell says good morning. Who has the coffee? I heard that.
Okay.
Need a whole pot this morning. I'm tired, boss.
Could have used a couple more winks.
A couple more winks for real. Judy Prinzer says we are here and we are listening. Right on, Judy Prinzer. How you feeling these days? How you feeling?
Yeah. How's your recovery?
Pop says looks and sounds good. Thank you, Pops. Kimber Snipe says for real, Miss Erica, because Lord, I was tired.
Yeah. I heard about last night.
Whack crew in the house. Marlon Harrison says good morning, family. Good morning to you, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey.
Mama Guy says sounds great. I'm glad of that.
Okay.
Yep. Kimber says y'all sound fine. Thank you. Amy H. No Dot in the chat saying morning. Good morning to you.
Hey.
Amy H. Dot in the house, y'all.
Okay. Man, you remember all the confusion they caused? That was hilarious. Like,
oh yeah,
who are we talking to? Like,
Amy H. I was thinking it was Amy H. No Dot.
Yeah,
funny. But we were just talking about this last night. We were hanging out a little bit about the chat, man. About chat chimers. We've really come to that point with chat chimers where we all really are a fam and know each other pretty well, and can see who's down, who ain't, what's going on, and how we gonna really lock it up this next season here with really having some chat chimers kickbacks, meeting face to face, really kind of get on the same page, because that's the only way that you're gonna really make some moves happen and get together is when we capitalize on the fact that we are hanging pretty tough 3 times a week.
Yeah, yeah. Was actually kind of talking about it. I feel like for those of y'all who have been hanging with us since the Mind and Soul days,
For real.
I feel like we kind of towards the end of that and us getting in the first Sky Omaha, we were just now reaching the point where we were like thinking back to like when we did the Donnell Jones show. Like that took us some years to kind of build up to that point. And I feel like we feeling excited about getting back to that point. Like we definitely all of the chat chimers want to throw some more experiences with y'all for y'all. They want to live a live together, man. So yeah, it's always exciting just talking about all the ideals, all the things that we want to do with this community that we built. I mean, we really recognize that this wouldn't be what it is without y'all. We love y'all, we appreciate y'all, and looking forward to getting anytime we see a new name in the chat, man, like that excites us. Like we really appreciate what it is that we build and y'all have helped us build. And we're all a part of this thing. Call y'all our co-hosts for a reason. Yeah, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all for real.
So right on. Appreciate you coming in, giving us a good morning this morning. Yeah, let us know how your week is going so far. I guess
Yeah,
it's midweek already.
yeah, hump day.
Yep, yeah, we got special guests coming in the house today. We got Sherman L. Wells that's going to come in, talk about a thing or two for real, and also Chris Baby Boy Bowling is going to be in the house.
Baby boy.
Yeah, we're going to go through some of that article that he put in Flatwater Free Press recently.
Man.
So yeah, little few things to talk about today for sure, man. Of course, the topic is still at the top of the list for us about Mr. Levi Blake being missing.
Yes.
And what's being done about trying to find him. There's a couple campaigns going on right now, and Brother Wells is a part of that, so he's going to give us some updates and all that good stuff. So can't wait. So we'll
Yeah,
see
man.
what's happening. Yep.
Yeah.
Kimber says, "Thank you for everyone who came out to our final speaker series. Yeah, I got to catch the last little tail end of that over there at Benson Theater. It was dynamic, and lots of people showed up. Man, I was really surprised about the
Good.
turnout. Those kinds of talks over there are kind of hard to have, especially if you're talking about housing and things that hit pretty close to home with people. And when we have them over there, it's questionable what the turnout will be for that. But this speaker series has been one of the more successful ones. Really getting a lot of heads in it to talk about it. So shout out to Kimber, the One Omaha crew, and everybody that's on her team. I met the team, realized I knew a few people on the team already,
Nice.
like Miss Alex and them, and I'm just like, wow, okay. So they're really doing some things here, man. They got a nice team. I love to figure out how we can do more teaming up with them, and really get busy here. So they had a nice turnout and a good talk and some dynamic points. Yeah, great.
Okay.
It was real great.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Congrats to the crew. Definitely looking forward to what y'all have coming up next. But also, Paul, we were kind of talking about it before the show. Yesterday, you didn't only go to the speaker series, but we've been talking about this DED open house series that they've been having. Again, the DED, Department of Economic Development, for those of you who might not know, opening their field houses. I guess it's a new thing. What
Yeah.
was your take from it,
We'll
man?
talk about that. I'm gonna save that for later. We'll talk
Man,
about
okay.
on
Well,
that news. Yeah.
yeah, if anybody else went, definitely would love to hear your take on it. We kind of
Yeah.
been talking about it over the last few days. Again, the DED had an open house at their North and South Omaha offices. So yeah, again,
Yeah, we'll
still
get
keeping an eye on that.
we'll definitely get into it. In the meantime, in the chat, a name out here. I got Jaquella Yarbrough. I appreciate that. I hope I didn't butcher your name up there. She said, finally caught the show. Hey y'all, what's going on?
Hey, welcome.
What's happening? Thank you. Appreciate that. Marlon Harrison is talking about his birthday. He said, I had the craziest birthday ever. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings with the family, and in the first 10 minutes of being there, a fight broke out. And sadly, it was black folks fighting. Man.
Oh man,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that tells me that the wings wasn't that good.
I was gonna say the wings is good enough. You ain't got time to fight.
Hey, you got too much barbecue sauce on the fingers.
Yeah, go to Wingstop, bro. Wingstop. But Mayor Sanchez says the spirit of First Sky Omaha will always be with me. I heard that. Appreciate that, bro.
Hey, love.
Gwen Easter's the chat is giving us a good morning. She says, "Would you please announce this public service announcement? The Nebraska Commission of African American Affairs has called a special meeting on Saturday, November 18th, 2023 at 9 o'clock. The commission will be voting on 3 issues: approve appointing an interim executive director, approve hiring a consultant to develop a strategic plan, and approve the policies and code of conduct for the organization. The meeting will be conducted via Zoom. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate the announcement there. That's another organization I definitely want to look into a little bit more. They got sounds like they got a lot going on. Trying to get a new executive director is a big job. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get a little more information on that. And you said that meeting is November 18th, 2023. Where's the
That's
meeting going to be
Saturday.
at? Let us know. Yep.
Well, I guess you said via Zoom, so maybe it's just digital.
Oh, just Zoom. Yeah. Okay.
Is it open to the public? I'm not quite
That's
clear on that from your
yeah.
post. Is that open to the public?
Yep.
Let us
Let
know.
us know.
Man, and we'd love to just kind of get more information on that commission. I kind of have a lot more questions. The
Yeah.
Nebraska Commission of African American Affairs. Okay.
That's yeah, it's on my list. I definitely want to check it out more for sure. So, shout out to Gwen Easter who's been representing there. Appreciate you. Think we'll definitely dig into that. Tony Johnson in the house. Good morning over on YouTube. Another director. What happened to the one who just started a couple months ago? Good question. We'll get into it. But it looks like everybody's on Facebook, YouTube. Do us a favor, share the show so we can get as many people in talking as we can. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Let everybody know that the show's going on. It's a different situation when we're live because we are live, and that gives chat chimers a chance to come in, our co-hosts, and give some comments, ask some questions, all that good stuff. And then, of course, if you miss any parts of this show, you can always go back and check it out later on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah,
And
man.
then, of course, check out the chat when you do that. So appreciate that. Like I said, we got a couple special guests coming in this morning. Before we get there, buddy, how you doing, man? What's going on
Oh
with you?
man. Really trying to try to catch up on my sleep cycle. I'll be honest. Monday night. First of all, shout out to Tech Nine and the whole Strange Music family. Of course, if you don't know, Omaha's own King ISO is a part of that crew. Actually, there's also a cat out of Lincoln named Screwface Jean who's a part of the Strange
What's that?
Music. So a lot of Omaha Lincoln love. But yeah, the crew is on tour right now, and they're happy to be here in Atlanta yesterday. And I actually linked up with one of their artists. Was in the studio pretty late, just doing some engineering and stuff. So I was up late, man, up late working, but trying to catch back up on my sleep over the last couple days. It's kind of what's really been going on with me. Like yesterday was very lazy, very
Yeah.
lazy, trying to get my mind unfogged.
Hey, man, I saw a meme that said artists need time to do nothing at all.
Man,
You know,
man,
you got to just do nothing for a while. That's just
yeah,
what you got
yeah.
to do.
Especially when like on Monday, I started early with the show, ended late in the studio, kind of burning the candle on both ends. So that definitely, had an impact, man. Definitely get y'all rest out there. But beyond that, trying to get my rest back is just trying to prepare and clean the house and get ready for the fam to come. The season is upon us, holiday season. If
Okay.
anybody has, actually, I see Jr. Sanchez, the mayor, in the chat talking about that very thing. Yeah, if y'all got any plans, let us know. Looking forward to Mama God coming back down here and things like that. I think my brother might be coming in town. So yeah, just mentally preparing to spend time with family, getting
Yeah,
rested up, cleaning the house, all that good
I'm
stuff.
getting ready for the season myself. You know what season?
What's that?
Tamale season.
Okay, tamales.
Mayor Sanchez, what's up? Let me know
Yes,
what's going on. Hook me
time
up.
to pull out the sweatpants. No belt, no belt.
Tamale season is upon us. Appreciate everybody that's coming in, giving us good mornings in the chat. My day is gonna be like that too. It's gonna be a long day, man. Definitely. Can't wait to check in with some people that we're talking about partnering with today. Got a lot of work to do today, and then a little bit of a practice a little later on today because we got a show tomorrow. There's a show at the Benson Theater called Hanky Panky that's happening tomorrow. Black burlesque with a funk band
Oh
playing in the
yeah.
back. So yeah, I got to go through the set list today because we're gonna be funking it up pretty good tomorrow night at Benson Theater. So if you want to see a show, man, come through 7 o'clock Thursday. Actually, I'm sorry, Friday night is the show.
Okay.
Tonight is the rehearsal and all that stuff. So it's gonna be a long one, and I hope to be able to catch up on a few Z's tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that's how my day gonna go. I'm already planning on sleeping tomorrow.
Man, I'm glad to hear it though, man. We talk about it again for those of y'all who might be new to the show or might have forgot. Again, we're a couple of artists, man. A couple of artists who happen to fall into the news and fall into engaging and communicating with the public. But yeah, this microphone we use this in more than one ways. You know what I mean?
Man, for real, for real. So yeah, man. So just trying to shuffle on by. There's a lot going on. We had the Benalto Ball. I don't think we talked about that at all. So
Yeah.
we had we did, I guess we talked a little bit about it.
Was that
Benalto Ball
Saturday?
went down Saturday. So we're still reeling from that. It was a great night, but we had to come down from it. You know what I'm saying? So we're
Man, for
just
sure.
trying to recoup and looking at the days differently now. Like, okay, we got a
Really?
breathing room. Yeah, man. When you do a show, you know how it is when you put on a major event. You be happy when that mug is over, so you can just chill out for a minute.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're in
Gotta
the chill out
regroup.
mode.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So again, the Black Burlesque show going down the 18th. That's the upcoming the next thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it coming in the haps. I think it's the next thing. You know what? We might have something in between there. We'll check.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the
Again.
meantime, between time, let's go ahead and get started.
Oh yeah.
Listen to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning on this
In the
Wednesday.
morning.
Stepped all over your line. My bad. My bad. Wednesday, November 15th. Here it is. It's starting now. Let's start
Let's
the show.
start the show.
All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of
Hey.
you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Apologize, radio listeners, if the volume is low. Not really understanding why it's happening. But let us know if we're coming through loud and clear. Appreciate that very much. And let us know how the mix was this morning. 6:30 crew
Yeah.
in the house. Love to hear about that. Once again, you're listening to a fresh edition. This is Wednesday, hump day, of course, November 15th, already in the middle of the month, which is a trip.
Man, where does
Um,
it go?
yeah, man. And we got special guests coming in today. Sherman L. Wells will be on shortly. And also, Chris Baby Boy Bowling is coming in and talk a little bit about the article they just wrote on at Flatwater Free Press. So, a couple special guests in, a couple things in the news, a couple interesting things in the news coming up. So, but before we get to that, let's get to the real important news that we need to jump in here real quick. Brother Sanchez says, I ordered 2 dozen tamales from Sam Leon after 20th. Okay, thank you very much. Now I know where to go. I will have to get busy on that. It is the season of the tamales. I'm gonna just say that. So,
You had me going, man. I thought you was really gonna jump into one of the many stories that we've discussed this morning, but nah, the important news, the
the
tamales.
real the real news, the real news. Uh, also, brother Samir Sanchez says, if anyone wants to have Thanksgiving dinner with me and my family, message me or need a plate. All right, bro. You might get it. Don't put that out there. You can get all the single
Yeah,
dudes.
I mean, this is like the second year I think he's done this as far as extending invite.
True.
So I think the brother is serious. I think the brother is serious, and how he has come, to a couple events, not shy to bring the plates, set up the table.
Hey man, last chat timers kickback. He came with the spread.
Man, hey, I had to take some of that home. I was eating tacos for like weeks.
I was gonna say that. I had tacos for the next week after that. After his food over there. So yeah,
Man,
we know he can throw down on top of it.
yeah. There you go.
So
There
yeah,
you go. So
take you up on that offer, brother.
yeah, if anybody alone during the season, yeah, check
Yeah.
him out. Check him out.
And he already told me he's gonna have tamales there. So no, he might get a call. Also, Marlon Harrison says, when is Precious coming back? Miss seeing her. Yeah, I miss Precious too.
Yeah.
She's been pretty busy lately, but we can definitely have her back on soon and catch up with see what she got going on, especially with all this stuff that's happening with it's getting ready to be the season, y'all. It's getting ready to be election season. They already are firing up on all cylinders for that, and
Man,
it's gonna be
actually,
real funny this year.
exactly. Real funny. We didn't really talk about it in detail. I think you kind of mentioned it when we were on with the senators on Monday. But the election offices, there's a specific AP report about election officers getting hit with some fentanyl and some other substances. So yeah, the funny business has already begun with that. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about just the season, man. Still trying to locate candidates,
Yeah.
rally up energy and support.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's always a thing, man. Like I said, what we've learned from last last voting season is that there's a whole lot more black folks out here that are Republicans that we knew of, that we thought.
Yeah,
And
man.
and then of course we still get the news that a lot of young folks are going independent, and in this situation in Omaha, you have to you go through the Democratic voting process. The Democrats are the only ones that are allowing independents to vote. If you're independent, you can't vote on anything Republican, but you can
Mhm.
vote on stuff in Democrats. So there's a lot of stuff to it, a lot of stuff to be understood before it gets there. But now's the time because it's going to be a real crazy election.
Right.
Real crazy election. Stacey Jean in the house. Good morning. Says good morning, first Sky Omaha family and friends. Appreciate you coming through. Wanda Lewis is coming through as well with a good morning. Gwenny just said I'll post the Zoom address on Friday with another announcement. Appreciate that
Okay.
very much.
Okay.
Yep, yep. Also, Mayor Sanchez is giving us some more of the menu: turkey, ham, prime rib, tamales. You just go and clean the guest room out, bro. I'm just gonna just gonna move on in, man.
Not the
Uh,
guest room. On your couch.
man, you know what I'm saying? It's going down. So anyway, yeah, appreciate everybody coming in this morning. We'll go ahead and jump into some news before our special guest gets in the house.
Speaking your
Uh,
language.
Once again, shout out to the Whack crew. Y'all got me tired. I'm tired, boss. Tired this morning.
Uh-oh.
What's she
Uh-oh.
say?
Kimra.
Just reminding me that I need to change my party. Ooh, say it again. It's
Yeah,
something.
a little louder for the people in the back. Yeah, we might have to have a conversation. We might have to make a press conference about that, like they did Don Klein.
Bruh, let's do it. Let's come out there and clap and do a press conference about somebody changing parties. Crazy. Yeah, let us know what you got going on there. We've been, we've been waiting on you to speak up. Let's talk about it. But in the meantime, between time, like I said, special guests coming on in the house. Let's jump into some stories, buddy. What's first on the agenda today?
Well, yeah, this is a story we've actually been having in the coffer for a while. So let's go ahead and get into it. Speaking of party politics and election season, again, just mention it. Some funny business already going on with the election offices. This coming out of the Associated Press. Election offices have been sent envelopes with fentanyl or other substances, and authorities are apparently investigating. Authorities were hunting Thursday for whoever sent suspicious letters, including some containing fentanyl to election offices in at least 5 states. So again, this is a pretty widespread attack, if you will, delaying the counting of ballots in some local races that have already started in the latest instance of threats faced by election workers around the country. The letters were sent to election offices in the presidential battleground. So I think that is also important to see. Again, the presidential race hasn't really started quite yet, but already people getting ahead of the ball. Georgia, one of the main battlegrounds. Of course, Trump recently charged for his recent activities in this battleground. Again, I'm not putting this attack on Trump, but again, very interesting where these areas are located. Again, Georgia, Nevada, as well as California, Oregon, and Washington, with some being intercepted before they arrived. 4 of the letters contain fentanyl. That's according to the FBI and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, who reported in a statement to election officials on Thursday. In the statement, it says law enforcement is working diligently to intercept any additional letters before they are delivered. The Pierce County Auditor's Office in Tacoma, Washington, also released images of a letter it received showing it had been postmarked in Portland, Oregon, and read in part, "End elections now." So again, I mean, we're coming off an election cycle that featured a raid of the Capitol.
Mm.
Yeah, what's coming up next?
That is the question. We just talked about it the other day on another news piece about one state that is making it so that if you don't vote for the 2
Mississippi.
consecutive times, then you'll lose your ability to vote the third time. All these little tactics are coming out, and you know that what that means. So the other thing I'm thinking about too is that the presidential race has already really kind of started because they've had a whole bunch of Republican debates stuff going on all the time. The ones that Trump keeps turning down because he's the front runner.
Man.
They kind of added it up. They're like, all the candidates together only represent like 39% or something like that. Trump's been dominating, so it very well could be that he's going to be the next president. And then, of course, we got to talk about what's going on in the Democratic Party. A lot of people, even in the Democratic Party, feel like Biden is going to be too old to run again.
Man, and not just that. I'm not quite sure how. Again, we don't really talk about it, but this Israel Palestine conflict is very interesting, and
Bro.
the U.S.'s continued support of Israel, whether you agree with it or not, you got to recognize that there's a divide with that situation, what of course is going to impact voting here in the nation as well. So,
Big time.
yeah, Biden is looking like he's in trouble.
Right. And have you heard of anybody else that might run? Because all I've been hearing is everybody's been is going to be back in his second term. So, I mean, I haven't even heard about any other people challenging that or any candidates at all. So I'm like, come on, Gavin Newsom, do something. But yeah, so there's a lot to there's a lot that's going to be happening that needs to be, the conversation needs to start now about it, because when we start vote, when the vote comes in next year, it's going to be a crazy election season.
It
Seriously
is.
crazy. People are jumping ship too. People are jumping parties, moving. There's it's all over the place. So I'm not even really sure about like what's happening with who's going to get some backing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, who are even the candidates? That's the question. Yeah, Tony Johnson said Cornel West. Brother Cornel West is running.
Yep.
He
Yep.
was running with the People's Party first, and then he switched to the Green Party because the Green Party is the bigger party than the People's Party right now, with some of the same values. But he even is saying that he's not expecting to win. He's just gonna be running. So yeah, like we'll see. We will see.
Yeah. So
Um,
keep our eyes open.
Got to keep
Also
our eyes open,
locally,
for sure.
what's going on?
Especially locally, especially that's huge. Who's running for mayor? Who's you know what I'm saying? Who's
Hmm. We do know that so far on this show, um, Brother Preston Love Jr. He's announced that he's running against Ricketts for that congressional seat. Senator McKinney also mentioned that he's running again for reelection. Beyond that,
yeah,
I don't know.
Senator Wayne's done, termed out.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have any successors.
Yeah, he keeps on saying he got some people in mind, but he's trying to vet them. He said, before you can get out here and start naming folks, they got to see if they're really going to run. So,
Right, right.
you know,
Amy
yeah,
H down in the chat with a very interesting point. She says if Democrats don't change radically now, then their demise will be their own fault.
craziness. Sarah Phelps in the chat. Good morning. She says, "Good morning, family. Wear green for Palestine." Okay.
Okay.
Tony Johnson in the chat says Nebraska Democrats losing more and more each month. Check state numbers. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We seeing that just even anecdotally, because we keep on running into people who's jumping ship, changing parties. Some changing to Republican. I hear a whole bunch of folks out here talking about they're going to vote for Trump.
Really?
Yep. Pop says that's funny, Paul. I was thinking the exact same thing at the exact same second when you said Gavin. Yeah, I want come on, Gavin. That's what I want to see run. Gavin.
Really?
Yeah,
That's California's governor, correct?
California. He's doing some things, bro. He done brought low riding back, all kinds of stuff.
Really? Oh, okay. National holiday, huh? That's what we going for.
Low riders, reparations, all kinds of things he got going on out there.
Hey, they did catch my attention with reparations. We're gonna have to, spend some time to talk about that at
Gavin
some
been doing
point.
some things for real. Stephen Abraham in the house. Good morning. He says the political situation in Omaha is going to be interesting. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be like that all over the country. But yeah, definitely Omaha in particular. There's the threat of losing the blue dot, bro. Big threat of losing the blue dot that's coming up. And remember the source of pride that the blue dot was all these years in the past. This last couple election cycles. As a matter of fact, the blue dot of Omaha even changed the direction of one of a major race last election cycle. So it was pretty huge. And so now if there's a chance of something, you know what I'm saying? If there
Mhm.
if there's a chance of losing that, then what's happening? I mean, it's always a battle. It's a
Oh
blue
yeah.
dot in a sea of red. So of course it's gonna be a battle. But how close are you to winning or losing that battle each time it comes around? Because what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, if you got a bunch of people jumping ship, if you got the black community that's split in voting Republican and some voting Democrats, and there's a big split in that community. I mean, the blue
Yeah,
dot is the blue dot because of people of color. A lot of people of color voting, and being in the areas where that's happening, and they contributed to that. So if there's a big split there, what's going to happen? You know?
definitely got a view. I got to see what's going on, and that's really we're talking about of the percentage of people who do vote. Like that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Kimber in the chat says that they feed into segregationist thought process too much for me, and even that's selective. Who's the we?
The-
Who's the they?
yeah,
Amy H. said, "Where's Whitney? We were talking about labor forces uniting and demanding change may be the way forward if we can come together on ideas. Wouldn't matter who is in political office potentially." Wow.
hmm. Labor forces. Okay.
Yeah, we are in the midst of a serious movement. A whole bunch, so many the labor forces and unions and stuff striking and everything that's going on. That's just something to weigh in when it comes to what's going on with who's going to be in these seats. It's a good idea. And where is Whitney? Look, we all up. We tired. Come on, I'm gonna call Whitney up. Whack crew tripping. Kimber says she probably smart and still in bed, right? Amy H. Dot says community led change, neighborhoods, unions.
Okay.
I like it.
Hmm.
I can see that. I can
Hmm.
see that. And Kimber's saying the party. She says they feed into segregationist thought process too much for me, and even that's selective.
Hmm. Talk about
Democrats.
the Democrats. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, interesting. It's gonna be something else. I can tell you that. I can say that it's gonna be something else. We might look around here and the whole state is red, and Trump is president next year. So, what you gonna
Man, man, that's actually concerning, especially thinking of locally, hearing some of the bills that we're talking about, and just what just thinking back to what the political climate was under Trump, and how people were just emboldened, not just on a national level but on the local level. How did that impact school politics? That charge and man, hearing now criminal reform, some of the things that's coming up, is very very interesting. I definitely want to talk about some of the bills. We will be talking about and keeping a close eye on what the senators dropped on us on Monday, as far as the 9 to 12 year olds possibly being hit with felonies and being able to be detained. But I do want to switch gears, if that's all right, Paul, to this other story talking about the preschool to prison pipeline, because again, that's right in line with it. As talking about our political future, you've been always calling it, Paul. Is Nebraska moving towards a prison state?
hmm
We already know that we now have kind of been reneged and reneged upon, and there's a pivot, and now we have two youth facilities, and now kind of I think Senator Wayne on Monday reminding us technically three if you look at Radius. Again, that's the new non-secure mental health facility behind Walmart
hmm
that's already holding youth. And now we're hearing now more bills of this now LR 220, an interim study to examine laws governing school security policy. This is all have really always been a conversation for several years, at least, as far as arming teachers, guns in schools, and now black superintendents. This coming out of Iowa, Black Iowa News, which is a platform we're just now learning of, but definitely will look more into. Black superintendents fight school to prison pipeline amid prioritization of politics over education. Again, continuing the political climate that we saw kind of brew up under Trump. And I'm asking the question: could we see that come back? Three of the state's black school superintendents discuss the school to prison pipeline during a recent criminal justice reform summit. Public schools need more funding to pay for counselors, social workers, and programs, in addition to school leaders and teachers who empathize with their students, which is important to remember as OPS is in the middle of a superintendent search. And look like them to disrupt the school to prison pipeline, said three black superintendents during a recent summit on criminal justice reform. But a recent law allowing parents to use state education funding to pay for private schools, again, pay attention what's going on in Iowa, means Iowa school districts must devise ways to do more with less. The school leaders told attendees at the recent Iowa summit on justice and disparities held in Acne, Iowa. The superintendents included Julius Lawson of Ames, Eric Pruitt of Acne, and Ian Roberts of Des Moines. Victoria Henderson Weber, a recent Des Moines school board candidate, served as host of the panel. Roberts again said the Des Moines district is slated to lose about 1,300 students because of the state's voucher program. He said that the first in history, we are seeing a dynamic that exists between education and politics, where there's a prioritization of politics over education. Even so, it's necessary to work collaboratively with state legislators on school funding, he said. So,
Mm.
again, paying attention to what's going on right across the river at our neighbors in Iowa. Um, what is the political future of Nebraska? Again, are we moving towards a prison state? And unfortunately, it looks like yes. And if I'm seeing the writing on the wall, it looks like our youth are in the crosshairs.
Yeah, I think first of all, this is making me think about this problem is regional. So might be some something there to be able to kind of reach out even further than our area and see what's going on regionally,
Mm,
and some of the efforts, and you might find some other organizations and allies and people to kind of make this a bigger issue regionally because it's happening all around us. So that's number one, but also, yeah, that's that takes me to thinking about like, what's going on here, like they're saying in the chat. First of all, Sarah Phelps says, "Watch the brain drain if we go red."
mm,
We already seen the brain drain is already here. There's a lot of people
yeah,
don't come here because of it in the first place. Just imagine how many more teachers would quit if we forced them to have guns. Uh,
man,
Talking about teachers quitting and going from one, moving districts and then leaving a gap. Also, what's got me thinking a little bit too is we don't have the same problem that Iowa has though, completely, because we got senators and people out here trying to get OPS money, and OPS is not taking the money. It's not like they are the money's getting siphoned away from them to do other stuff. They act like they got plenty of money when they turn down funds.
man,
So there's some similarities there, but there's also like we got some specific problems here too, and that's just what it is. Jaquala Yarborough in the chat says it's important to understand bringing in black people doesn't mean they'll be in alignment with equity. Very true.
man,
Yes, they are. Black kids are 5.4% of our population. They are over 90% of the youth incarcerated.
man. There you go. There you go. I mean, once you start kind of looking at the numbers, it is very, very staggering, and kind of goes back to why we were so alarmed on Monday to hear that there's a proposal for bills, the law to change for 12 and 9-year olds. Again, to be able to detain 9-year olds and to hit 12 to 14-year olds with felonies. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then on top of that, you talk about again. We have to wait till November to see what happens with the school voucher bill. But we've had extended conversation on how that will play and how that will impact our schools. And while we do agree that yes, people deserve a choice, people should be able to do whatever they have to do to get the best education possible. The reality is, who is able to take advantage of that type of legislation?
Yeah,
What other barriers are there for that to really have the intended impact?
yeah, it's a good question.
You know,
Tony
so
Johnson, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
Tony,
ahead.
Tony Johnson in the chat says, folks feel youth are lazy, self-centered, and will not contribute to American economy. They say no point when you can make more money putting them in prison.
I mean, ain't that what they said about us after slavery?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, when they continue slavery through different programs. Also, but Gwen Easter has a long one here. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's see. Speaking about jail our youth. Oh, okay. She's talking about a situation she just was in. I got a call yesterday from a grandmother that is concerned about her grandson who was incarcerated in the East Omaha jail. She said her grandson has an infection in his hand, and the hand is turning green and pus is coming out.
Mm,
He has had a bad headache fever on Sunday. She said the medical staff did look at it but didn't treat him. He was told he can only be seen by staff thoroughly at his signed appointment next month. The aunt called many people, including past attorney, to see if they can help. She called Channel 6, Mike McKnight, who sent an email to the jail, and only then did the staff medical took a look at it, but still told him he had to wait for a scheduled appointment. The grandmother contacted me as a commissioner to see if I could reach out to Senator McKinney, which I did. I also left a message yesterday evening asking the director to look into the situation. So hope they do. The grandmother is hoping they will take him to the hospital for treatment. We've definitely ran into a bunch of articles talking about the medical care that's going on inside the prison, especially in our prisons that are overcrowded. They
Mhm.
got this; they're illegally overcrowded right now, and how much is going on as far as the staffing they even have there, but also healthcare and things like that. There's a lot this is not just a our problem. I definitely have seen around the country where medical assistance and help and stuff inside the prison is very lacking, very lacking, and it's really unfortunate here. Like I said, we have low staff and overcrowding going on here. So how can anybody be treated medically well in the first place?
Yeah.
Unfortunate. So I hope that comes to fruition there, changes up. So yeah.
Yeah, for a while it seemed like for a couple weeks it was like death after death being reported at like Nebraska State Prison, and I think the Nebraska Community Center had a death. Yeah, very interesting to see what's going on with the health aspect of it.
Very true, very true. 7:41 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, thanks for everybody who's given us your comments and everything on this particular subject. I'm glad to see some new names in the chat. Jaquala Yarbrough saying, send her that information. You guys talking to each other there. That's great. Tony Johnson says pipeline not big concern to school board members like Ricky Smith. We're always calling out Ricky Smith. We're always trying to ask Ricky Smith to come on and talk to us on some of these subjects. So so we can find out from his mouth exactly where he stands on all these things. But we're making some progress in roads and just trying to speak to some more people around town about things that are happening. But yeah, there's still a whole lot of questions, whole lot of things going on with OPS that need some answers for sure when it comes to that. Also says South Board. Tony Johnson says South Board school board member already looking at next position. Hmm. South Omaha just got on board now, running for Senate. Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that a little bit more. But again, appreciate everybody who's coming in on this subject here. Any final thoughts on that particular thing, buddy? You got?
Um, I mean, yeah, I could kind of keep going as far as the preschool to prison pipeline, but
I,
we
I, would- I
just got to
would like to.
really,
I would like to tie that in though, if we can, because I think that's going to be going forward. Like we were just talking about it earlier, going forward, that's going to be a major thing for us
yeah,
to be trying to team up with some other organizations in town and address. So yeah, I definitely would like to tie that in. Uh,
definitely.
hmm
Kind of a good time to remind people we are working with Metro Community College to help them with their reentry program, and working with recidivism and some other programs out there. So shout out to definitely Diane Good Collins. But yeah, man, it is very interesting to see. Again, Senator McKinney just on Monday said that he's trying to push the state, or well, he's planning to draft a bill to push the state to close down NSP. Just criminal reform and criminal justice is a big topic, in Nebraska. Like, again, the most over, like, if we're not, we're second, and it goes back and forth between second and first, with us in Alabama as the most overcrowded prison system in the country. And again, we not really hearing many people wave the flag like, how are we going to address this? Again, the state has been in an overcrowding emergency and for several years now, and every move to possibly alleviate that has been blocked by the state. Again, remember, there are several bills that are the constitutionality of them are being questioned by our own um, uh, attorney general.
mm,
And again, a lot of those bills would have went a long way toward, again, clearing a path for individuals to be reunited with society, to come back with their families, and possibly to have the resources to do so, not just jamming out, as Senator Wayne has said many times. So, and put that along with what's going on with our youth and some of the things that are happening towards our youth. Remember, we're calling for more mental health That was one of the big calls actually from the whole George Floyd situation. Defund the police was one, but also a call for more mental health. And we've seen since then more mental health facilities, but quite ironically, you got to have a record. You got to have already been arrested and already dealt with the police to even get those resources. And specifically for the youth, a lot of those facilities are youth facilities. So what direction are they really pushing our youth? What resources does our youth have? What programs are out there? Like really, who's stepping up for the youth out there? And for those of you who are, thank you, thank you.
Yep. And we'll leave it there at that. Again, thank you very much for joining in on this subject. It's something we will definitely continue to talk about as time goes on here on this show. But in the meantime, between time, 7:45 right now, if you believe in the concept of time, we got a special guest waiting in the wings. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Baby Boy Bowling is in the house.
Baby boy.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
All
Good.
right, man. All right. Glad to see some new work from you. So yeah.
No,
Welcome back.
it feels good to be back on the saddle again, as they say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For
Well,
those
good.
who don't know, we're on the line with Chris Baby Boy Bowling, as we like to call him, local journalist, man, just storyteller, and all around cool dude, man. So we always appreciate opportunity to speak with you, catch some updates on what's going on. And before we
hmm
hop into the work, like how are things going? I know you kind of dealt with the transition between the reader at Flatwater now. So
hmm
yeah, how's things going for you?
Yeah, no, they've been good. Just the reader ended at the end of August. I took a long kind of siesta. Just went home and traveled a little bit. Went camping with some people, and and then I'm back and been getting into the swing of things. Been getting used to working downtown, and I have a lot more freedom. And I mean, there's a lot of different like stuff I can do. So really focusing on the stories, and so I've been working on a lot of different things. A lot of things I'm excited to talk about on here, including the story that I just did. But
Yeah.
it's good. Yesterday was my birthday. I didn't
Oh,
get any
okay.
presents from you guys, so you're in the hot seat. So
Sorry about that.
Yeah, happy belated, man. Happy belated.
no, you're good. It's all good.
Did you do anything fun? What'd you do?
Well, I was sick the past 2 days, so I
Oh
didn't
man.
do a whole lot. Just this like cold that's like going around. No, nothing really. My girlfriend got me a bread bin because my cat keeps eating the bread that I bake. So now there's a latched bin so that he doesn't get in there.
Okay. What, you're
Hey,
baking bread? You got
Oh yeah, I'm baking. I got table loaves, I got sandwich bread, I got baguettes, I got
okay.
little confectionery treats, all kinds of things.
Okay.
if you keep the cat off the table, then I'll come over and take.
Well, he's on top of the table. He's kind of, I don't know if other people's cats are like this, but he loves like oil, like vegetable oil and olive oil. So he's like, he like gets into the cabinets and he's like licking at the cap of the oil, trying to get the oil. Maybe
Yeah.
that might have been TMI, but
No,
It's,
I'm right there with
it's,
you.
it's, it's good information. I need to know this.
yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Seriously, Paul. Me and my wife used to own some cats, and cats are very. It was different. It's a different experience owning cats. They're all in the wall. I was not used to that at
Yeah.
all. It's
Well,
different. It's different.
he's a Siamese cat. So I don't know. They say that Siamese cats are like extra weird, but anyway, that's just like a little snapshot of what my life is like.
Hey, that's
Hey, that's great.
Right, exactly.
oh man.
First of all, I want to give a shout out. I see Whitney is in the chat now, so the whole Whack crew is here this morning. And you came,
Hey.
yeah. We tired because we was hanging out last night, but we appreciate everybody. I told everybody that you was gonna be on today, so that I'm sure that helped everybody get up this morning and check you out. Chris Baby Boy Bowling in the house. So it's good, man. And I knew that I knew that we were gonna be in a situation here where somebody was going to see the good work that you had been doing and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Yeah, come on in." And I'm just glad you stayed in town with it. So
Mhm.
shout out to Flatwater Free Press for making that move
Yeah.
and got you back writing, man, because and got you writing some you still on the stuff that you're on as far as
Mhm.
really advocating for social justice and everything that you do. So that's what's
Yeah.
up. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah. So
So
let's go ahead and dive into it. Again, for those of you who are watching on Monday, we did talk about the story, kind of giving an update. We've been really paying close attention to this whole child welfare situation since the St. Francis Ministries story really broke. We actually had Michaela Kavanaugh on back in the Mind and Soul days. So again, just to kind of tip you off of how long this has been going on. But actually, one thing I did learn from your article, Chris, is this has been going on actually quite longer than what we know. You found some information dating back to 2002. Can we kind of start there?
Yeah. So, I mean, for anyone who, and I see Jaquela is in the chat, so I just want to shout her out.
Okay.
She's definitely someone that you guys should have on to also talk about this.
Okay.
But
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, so basically the situation is Nebraska's child welfare system is in, I guess crisis is a subjective word, but I think that would encapsulate it pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah, so back in the early 2000s, the federal government came in. They did audits of every child welfare system in the nation, and a lot of states failed these audits, including Nebraska. And so basically, the federal government set up a plan of like, okay, well, here's how you're gonna, work toward meeting these standards and improving your system and all that sort of stuff. And basically, it didn't work. And so by 2008, the Department of Health and Human Services was like, hey, what if we just like contracted all of this work out to private companies and the state didn't really do it anymore? Or we oversaw it, but all the work was done by private companies because they could handle it more efficiently and get better outcomes for kids. Because the ultimate idea is that going into the system should be, I don't know if I want to say last resort, but it definitely should not be the first option. Unfortunately, it does kind of become the first option in a lot of cases, but that's another story. But the idea is that you get out of the system as quickly as possible. So the idea was these private companies could, get all this, get this done faster and make sure there's less trauma to kids. So they hired 6 companies, and they started on April 1st, 2010. Literally the next day, one of the companies that was overseeing like 2,000 kids dropped out because they said the contract was bad and they were I don't know if it was that they were misled or they didn't really do their homework. That's something I don't know. But basically, they were going to lose like $5 million and they couldn't keep doing it. And that set off a chain reaction of pretty much every company except for the one that oversaw Omaha dropping out. And by 2012, so yeah, and in Omaha we had a private company that was overseeing child welfare, so foster care, casework with families, all that sort of stuff from 2010 to basically the company shifted names a couple times, but by 2019 there was a bid for the contract again, and a company came in called St. Francis. This is what you guys have talked about, what people probably know. St. Francis underbid the old provider by 40%. Like they said they could do the job for like 140 million less dollars. And the state apparently thought that sounded good, so they gave the contract to them. And any kind of transition in a child welfare system is going to be very difficult. But St. Francis also said there's basically like a standard of like how many cases a caseworker should have, and that keeps your workload low. Like imagine if you have to check in with family and do all these different things every day, the difference between having like 15 cases and having 30 cases. So Nebraska's standard is that you can't have more than 17. St. Francis, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that they wanted their caseworker caseload to caseworker ratio to be like 25 to 30, something like that. That's what they bid in their contract. So their contract was already out of line with state law. But anyway,
wait, time out.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That was in the contract when the state approved the contract.
Yeah, so the first contract that was in their first contract, and then as far as I understand, so they awarded the contract to St. Francis, and then the old company, they basically filed a protest of like, you can't do this. Their contract is literally violating state law and it's a very, very long lawyerly protest, so there's a lot of information in it. But yeah, so then the state basically was like, I guess, talk to them, and the St. Francis said, oh, actually, no, we can get the caseload ratio down, and the state was. So I don't know. I mean, basically, all of that that's a part of the story, but that is like a whole nother situation that has been the subject of like legislative things, but Kayla Kavanaugh really looked into it. Lots of things. So long story short, St. Francis didn't work out. The caseload compliance ratio, which is what people look at sometimes to see, is the system running well or is it running not well? So if you're at 100% compliance, that means every caseworker has, under 17 or less cases, and they should be able to, give as much of their time as they should to like the kids and the families that they're working with. So that went from 100% basically, or like 95% to 24% in the matter of a few months. And then basically just been going up and down ever since then. I don't think it's ever gone higher than 50%. And now the state eventually took the contract back over from St. Francis. St. Francis had a lot of other problems. Their leadership got caught up in federal fraud allegations, and there was abuse stuff that was going on. Not in Nebraska necessarily, but it's all part of the same company. So the state took it back over. The state, what are we gonna say? State took it back over, and it's been under the state for about 2 years now, and it hasn't really improved. I mean, they say it has, but you can look at other numbers and it hasn't. And so, yeah, basically we're at kind of back where we started, years ago, where we have a system that is in a state of instability, volatility. There is some legislative action that's going to be coming down the pipe next session. So they organized a reform effort. The legislature organized a reform effort, and they've been studying this since 2022, I want to say. And so it's called Reimagine Wellbeing. You can go on there. They have a website that has like all these documents on there, and there's like 300 pages of draft documents. The final report comes out on December 1st. But yeah, I think there's mixed opinions on how successful that's going to be. I think a lot of people are really fatigued because this is a thing that has been under reform for a long time. A lot of people have been saying the same things. You could talk to Jaquela. She was at those meetings and she has a lot of thoughts. Beeee Worthington, who I talked to for my story, she is not convinced that these reform efforts are going to go anywhere, and she'd like to see, these child welfare systems, when they're really bad, they get sued in class action lawsuits to force federal oversight and reform. So that is, I'm supposing that's on the table. So it's just, but anyway, all of this stuff aside, the reason that I wanted to do the story was because a lot of this stuff has already been talked about, and bits and pieces along the way. But the real thing that, interested, or that I wanted to talk about was, how is this affecting kids and families? Like, how does this instability put people at a disadvantage of, reuniting with their kids, all that sort of stuff. And so the short and long of it is that it really has had adverse effect on kids and families. I mean, when you bounce around the different caseworkers, which is what happens when people are overworked, they quit, you get new caseworkers. And when you get new caseworkers, your new caseworker doesn't know what your old caseworker did. Like, there's notes that they trade, but there's a lot of knowledge you lose. There's relationships that you lose. And it's just like you're already in this really traumatic, unstable situation. And then when you have a bunch of other instability with it, it just doesn't help things. So, it's a pretty bad situation. And I've been very, surprised by how much feedback I've gotten on it. Lots of comments on the article, lots of people reaching out to me via email. And there's a lot of things with it I didn't really get to scratch the surface on. I mean, when it comes to racial disparities, I really would like to dig into like the foster care to prison pipeline, because we know that exists. But the problem is that, a lot of the data and the studies have been more outside of Nebraska. So in terms of like trying to nail it down inside Nebraska, I don't really know if those systems are really communicating with you. I like looked into it a little bit as I was researching the story, but yeah, Black kids are overrepresented in the foster care system. They're overrepresented in the juvenile justice system. Those systems are very intertwined. Obviously, we got a whole situation going on with our juvenile justice system here in Omaha with the I'm sure you guys have talked about that a bunch, the
Mhm.
facility that they built. And so, yeah, yeah, a lot of things to dive into there.
Let me ask you real quick. Do you know the number of cases that are so now that the state has it back? Do you have any recent numbers on case loads these days?
Yeah, so it is as of September 2023, which is the latest data that I have. Um, only a quarter of caseworkers in the Omaha area are compliant with state law. Now, according to the state, if I can find their comments, um, basically, while they say that that has not improved, they say that they have gotten the number. Okay, so yeah, here it is. When the state assumed sole responsibility for case management, more than half of the caseworkers carried between 28 and 36 cases. This is from a DHHS person.
Mhm.
Now, no caseworkers have that many, and only 9 caseworkers have 25 cases. So, I mean, basically, they're still breaking the law, but they're not breaking the law as bad if there are degrees to it. Is basically the situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said Jaquela Yarborough's in the chat. Those she said those people will definitely communicate and orchestrate the pipeline.
Mm.
Because we haven't been able to have didn't have her on today. And you said that she was in the chat. She's somebody to talk to. Maybe you can give us a little background, Jaquela. If you're in the chat, maybe you can tell us who you are too and how she associated with this particular article that you're writing. Maybe you can just let us know.
Yeah, well, she was at a meeting virtually that I went to, and it was about this reform effort. And, I mean, to be kind of honest, it was like what you would imagine like a bureaucratic kind of meeting to be, like very long and boring. And, Jaquela was speaking up a lot in the Zoom chat. And I just was like, okay, that's a person that I need to talk to. And so, unfortunately, we did not get to cross paths as I was reporting the story. Just she was out of town for stuff, and it got down to like when I really needed to get it done. And so, but I do want to talk to her in the future. I know she's listening, so I definitely did not forget about you at all. But yeah, she is a person who's really invested in the racial disparities, the ways that reform hasn't worked, the way that the lack of reform is failing, mostly kids of color. So yeah, no, she's an interesting person that
We
I would recommend you guys talk to more.
We would definitely love to talk to you more, Jaquil, if you wanted to come on and discuss that your involvement in obviously you're trying to fight this setup in this system too. You calling it a
Mhm.
racket. She says it's a racket. Yeah, it sounds like it. Go ahead, buddy. You got a question?
I did, but I kind of lost it, and my mind is just I'm following what Chris is saying and definitely
Yeah,
looking
it's
at.
a lot of information, and it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's important to remember like this system is very complex. Like, if it's complex for me to explain it to you, imagine being, a mom or a dad or a grandma
Man.
who is having to navigate it. Like, that's why the caseworker is so important, is because they are there to both like kind of like give you some stability and guide you on as straight of a path as they can, but they're
Mhm.
also there to navigate you through the court meetings, making sure you go to your drug treatments, your job searches, like all these different things. So having one caseworker is very important. I mean, they are kind of, I mean, I don't think that they inherently want it to be adversarial. I guess in an optimistic view, the system should not be adversarial to the person having their kids taken away. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it is, and so your
Mhm.
caseworker turns out to be, your only one of your few advocates, probably. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the different players, and I can't really think of anyone who would advocate for you more than your caseworker. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Again, Chris, you've been trying to reach her as far as my wife being a former caseworker and really seeing the ins and outs on a daily basis of that. As far as not just you're talking about all the areas of a parent's life that a caseworker has, but just the sheer energy that is put into it. All of those things take a lot of energy to maintain, and a person has to really really care. And I just kind of find it hard to imagine that there's a lot of care that can even be put into the job with such a high turnover. Like, how do you not treat it just like a job,
Yeah,
knowing that I might not even be here for that long? How can I get that emotionally invested? in
Well,
the situation.
yeah, and I mean and I think it goes back to the caseload thing, and that's why Nebraska has the caseload standards it does. I mean, it was these standards were, I should have said this at the beginning, they were created as a response to all the instability that happened in the early 2010s. So like as all these places were turning over and dropping out, and kids were being thrown into these really unstable situations, they created these caseload standards to stabilize the system. So it is a systemic thing of like why this is important. And like you said, it's also a very personal thing because I mean, yeah, put yourself in the shoes of a person who is trying to help people through a very, very difficult time. And it's not like, every parent, grandparent, whoever's in the system, like it's not like people don't have problems that they need to work on as well and things that
Hmm.
they're dealing with and things like that. So it's not like always like I'm fighting the injustice of the system. Sometimes it's very difficult to work with people, who are dealing with something very traumatic and difficult in their lives. Anyway, so yeah, it's just like, and imagine if you have to navigate that, with 30 people instead of 15 people, it just becomes a lot more difficult. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, just moving on, just let people know right now it's 8:06 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with
Hmm.
Chris Baby Boy Bowling. Now with Flatwater Free Press, he was writing for the Reader before the Reader shut down. You guys all know who he is, but for all the new people that are chiming in and all the ghost listeners that don't know, that's who we're speaking to now. Chris Bowling. Check him out. He's a local journalist and has got a lot of great articles about what's going on as a social justice advocate, and has been doing a lot of writing on a lot of different subjects, from climate to the disinvestment of North and South Omaha. So definitely check out his body of work. And he's here now. We're talking about the situation with the foster care system that is really, really sad and messed up. I appreciate everybody who's been in the chat that's been speaking up about this and giving us some things to think about, some comments. If you have any questions for him while he's here, then please put them in the chat. And this is also something that we'll continue to talk about on the Friends of First Sky Omaha when we're not live. We're on the group page, Friends of First Sky Omaha on Facebook, so definitely check that out.
Hmm.
Chiquela Yarbrough in the chat says, I would love to join. We need as much attention around this as possible. I definitely agree. I have a question for you, Chris. You along with us we were around when we were all learning about solutions journalism.
Hmm.
Shout out to John Houston for putting us up on that.
Yeah.
As you were writing this, and I know that when you go through the process of writing articles like this and doing the research, you start to formulate human beings are problem solvers. So the
Hmm.
wheels start turning in our heads. We start seeing solutions. Did you see some solutions here? Did you see something calls to action that we could be taking on this subject while you were writing?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, lawsuits, class action lawsuits, federal oversight is something that in other states has worked. It also hasn't worked in other states. So it's just, I mean, the truth is, like, these are very, very complex systems, and I mean, there's no system that is like 100%, perfect. And
Hmm.
so, but yeah, I mean, lawsuits can be a good direction. New Jersey was under a lawsuit and federal oversight for like 20 years, but they dramatically changed their child welfare system. Now, their system was way worse than ours was.
Mm.
It was uh, I mean, kids. I mean, literally, there were kids like dying and like being extremely, extremely neglected, being starved, like all these really terrible things.
Man.
And it was not just like one-offs; it was pretty systemic.
Mm.
So I mean, as far as I know, that's not happening in Nebraska in a systemic way. But anyway, so New Jersey got sued. It was under this federal lawsuit. It had lots of ups and downs, all that sort of stuff. But it seems like they're at a place now where it's not like kids still aren't coming into the system, but it's become a lot less of a knee-jerk reaction. The system is a lot better and services people better. I mean, in a ideal world, the optimal thing that could be done is to invest a lot more in prevention and trying to get people out of the system so they never even have to get in it. So I mean, and the main reason people and kids even come into the system is called neglect, and what neglect means is basically poverty. So
Man.
Not having enough food for your kids, not being around for your kids enough. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can mean. And that is literally, I mean, the number one reason. I think it's like 53 or 63% of cases. That's a factor. So anyway, yeah, it's getting people. I mean, I talked to Appleseed for this, and I mean, I can't remember. You guys have talked about the TANF funding, right? The child,
Yep.
the welfare money, and how the state is kind of
Just sitting on it.
hoarding it. Yeah, sitting, hoarding, whatever verb you want to use. But yeah, in Appleseed, I asked them. I was like, "Is there a connection between the lack of welfare money and things like SNAP and all that sort of stuff, and then I mean, like the reasons that people get into the system?" And they're like, "Absolutely. I mean, we should be giving people more direct cash assistance, helping them out, making it easier for them to get help and harder to take it away." So yeah, I mean, and then this is like more personal opinion, but I do think like community-based organizations would be a lot better. Something that Beeee, who's not here, but hopefully you guys will have her on in the future, said to me that I wasn't able to get into the story, but she talked about how when she was a caseworker and she was working in North Omaha, it was a lot different for her because everyone there knows her. Like she had to take a kid away from someone who was on her cousin's street. So it was like down the street from where her cousin lived, and she had to take a kid out of the home. So everyone knows her. And so first of all, she needs to feel really confident in why she's doing this and what she's doing to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And second of all, the people, when it comes to that and they see her come in to take the kid away, they know, oh, this is really serious. Like they're not really associating. I mean, I'm not going to say that, just because you look the same as someone else, you can't be associated with, the system or oppressive systems, because that's absolutely you can. But I think that you can connect a little bit better when you have that cultural competency, when you can meet people where they're at, where they know you. So, and that seems to be a problem. I think that one of the things with this reform report is they want to try to diversify their workforce. I don't know what the diversity looks like right now, but from what I've heard, I think it's not very reflective of the kids who are in the system. The other thing is also, giving more money to community-based organizations who, do things like act as buffers between like the family and the state, or try to help out, caseworkers by, having safe, neutral grounds where kids and families can like get together for visitation. All these different, like being advocates for families, just all kinds of different things. So I think that the reform effort, I think that's one thing they want to do, is try to, invest more in these community-based things. It's just kind of difficult to, I think with the funding models of the child welfare system, it can be kind of difficult, but I don't think it's impossible. So that stuff I didn't get into as much, but those are kind of where I see solutions happening. I mean, the honest answer though is that like litigation, that's like a real stopgap of like, okay, you're not, going to give me the runaround of talking about these reforms over and over. I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt that, you mean it this time. Like I'm holding your feet to the fire. So different ways you can look at it.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that we kind of got out of our conversation with Senator Wayne, was the need kind of for litigation, and kind of where it comes to, that's almost, it seems like the only option to really put some teeth behind it.
Yeah,
definitely want to jump in the chat real quick. The chat's going off pretty good. Tony Johnson earlier said to bring Tanya Cook and bring the council on for further discussion. They'll have some insights there. Can definitely do that. Also, Amy H. Dot says it is systematic. We need to not have to wait so long for court dates, transportation availability, mental health providers, perhaps even an advanced approach, several sessions more than every other week. She's also saying parents need to help navigating and doing legwork that can be paralyzing to some, for sure. Caseworkers need to help doing legwork so they can be client facing more. Makes sense. Also, Jaquila says, and it's up to the discretion of your caseworker and DHHS investigator what happens to the family.
Yep. And I think that's a big part that goes back to kind of what you're saying as far as cultural competency, and what I'm saying as far as getting emotionally involved, like not treating it so by the book just as a job. A big part of whether or not these families are reunited is what the caseworkers feel, like what the caseworkers feel. If the caseworkers are, recognizing and it is a team decision, like yes, yay or nay, these people should deserve their children back. It's a very, very big decision for so many, so many gaps and so many shortcomings in the system itself for that decision to be made. Uh,
Mhm.
it's concerning. I'll be honest, it's concerning.
Yeah.
To that demographic, Jaquela in the chat is talking about back in 2021, 323 white, 225 Hispanic, and 23 black. Doesn't know what it is today, but that's what it was then, and we already kind of know that though that's how things were definitely leaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like this that what you're talking about, that story about the lady who is in the neighborhood. Everybody knows her, and when she has to come take the kids away, it's a different attitude. I actually dated someone who was not from the neighborhoods and taking kids away,
Mm.
and I saw I can that's the big difference between people who are not from the neighborhood. Having it when they come on the neighborhood, now they're the adversary, they're the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Whereas somebody from the neighborhood, they have this change of this attitude flips of, wow, if they're here, it must be really bad over there.
Yeah.
So I think that's super super important, and of course that person wouldn't really know about it unless they were from the neighborhood, but also had a lesson of caseload to be able to get to know these people and get to know the families and spend some time and actually be able to form an opinion based on a relationship that you spent some time having. You don't have time to have it if you have 40, 50 caseloads. So
Mhm.
there's a lot to it. I appreciate everybody in the chat that is chimed up on this for sure. Miss Erica Felt gave a personal example. She says, I was put in the system because I got in a fight. The other girl's mother was a stay-at-home mom, so could pick her up. They couldn't reach my working college student mom, so it was neglect.
Mhm.
And that put her in the system. That's the kind of stuff that happens to us all the time. So
Yep.
sorry that you went through that. She says, to get me back, my mother had to attend meetings and court dates that made her lose her job, so my returning home was delayed. Wow.
Mhm.
Losing her job caused her to lose our apartment. It all snowballed, and being put in the system changed our family protector deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are like really obviously like traumatic things to deal with. And I mean, I think, I'm not trying to say like I've experienced this or anything, so I don't want to like be misleading, but it's just like I can't imagine what it's like to have your whole life upended and all of a sudden like something that is very emotional and personal is then made into this very like it's like you're trying to like have your left brain and your right brain like meet. It just like it's very very difficult. And so yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to, I mean, every story is so different. So in some ways it can be hard to say like, well, what is the norm in the system and all that stuff. But I mean, obviously the caseload compliance thing is a very good indicator and it's really bad right now. And some people are hopeful that over time with DHHS it will just naturally get better once we have like more consistency. But I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, and it's just like every day that goes by is another day where there are worse outcomes for kids and families, and it's not like when a kid gets out of the system, all of a sudden everything goes back to normal. I mean,
Oh
it's like
yeah.
these
Takes time.
cause problems for. I mean, one of the things in the story is when so I kind of profiled like a mom who
Mm-hmm.
had her rights terminated. And when her rights were terminated, the court had this long document that basically listed everything that she had done that they thought made her unfit to be a mom. And kind of deep in all the reasons, though, there was one. I guess I should probably find it because it really kind of floored me. But um, yeah, they said they were basically like listing all these things of like these are all the things she's done that's wrong. But then in those reasons it was basically like we need to end like them shuffling around different foster homes and all this stuff. They just need to like get out of the system and be adopted. The court said they're talking about our kids. They have had frequent instability and chaos. They have been in a constant state of adjusting to new placements and varying levels of visitation. They have problems with trusting adults and will struggle with trust in the future. So they're basically like saying that, while they say it's the mom's fault, they're also saying this system messed these kids up.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it goes back to the whole Nico Jenkins conversation. And I'm kind of curious, kind of moving forward, where your reporting will go. Is this something that you plan on doing other future reporting on? Do you have other stories kind of already on your radar? Because
Yeah.
I am curious as far as what is the racial breakdown of the amount of students. First of all, the Douglas County and Sarpy County foster care system specifically, according to your article, takes up like over half of the system.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more demographic breakdowns of what is the racial background of these children in the system. What is the connection between that and like what percentage of students in OPS are in the foster care system?
Hmm.
What percentage of patients at these mental health facilities that are popping up are in the foster care system? Like what really is the connection between that? I think this prison pipeline, I think there's a lot more under the surface that can be revealed with some good reporting, and I think you're capable.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, to make it kind of quick, I think that is something I'd really like to do. I think I might wait until this reform effort does or doesn't get underway to kind of revisit it. Just,
Okay.
but I've had a lot of people reach out. Obviously, people really are responding to this in the chat. So it's a story that's really important to talk about. And I think that the racial disparities, the connection between foster care and criminal justice is very, very important. And yeah, it's a problem here in Nebraska, especially the overrepresentation. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, lots
appreciate it.
of pipeline.
We appreciate your writing, appreciate your work. Can't wait to hear more from you on that. Here's the article we're putting in the chat. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go to Flatwater Free Press and check it out.
Yes.
And it's a deep one, and I appreciate everybody's comments. We're going to go ahead and let you get out of here, brother. We got another guest waiting in the wings, but thank you very much again for all the work that you do and all of the stories that you're bringing out here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
We'll talk
Thanks.
soon. We'll take a quick break and come right back. And then, like I said, we have a special guest coming in the house. Our brother Sherman Wells is in, and we'll be right back and jump in and talk to him right away. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Stay tuned, y'all. Yep. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, man, you guys are getting busy in the chat. Really appreciate that very much. All of your comments. We'll definitely come back to that subject. In the meantime, before we get out, we have a special guest waiting in the wings. Brother Sherman Wells is with us this morning. Man, good morning to you, brother.
Man, what's going on with y'all brothers, man? How y'all doing?
I'm good. Right. I see you back here messing with that green screen. You're getting technological on us.
Getting busy.
I was trying to.
Yeah. No, you're doing it, man. We definitely appreciate the work you're doing as always. It's always an honor and a pleasure to speak to you, to get what you catch up on, what it is that you're doing. I've been talking about the live that you recently had. But before we get into that, just checking how are you? How's the wife? How's the family doing? How's everything going?
Wife is doing good. Daughter's doing great. I got one new grandchild the other day.
Congrats.
And I got another one coming next month, so that'll be 7 grandkids for me.
Man, I ain't seeing no grains, no salt, no pepper.
It's coming, but it's taking its time. My friends be accusing me of dyeing my beard because all them look like Santa Claus, but it just ain't my time to get gray yet. But it's coming though. I have one long gray strand of hair right in the middle of my heart. It's so crazy.
Okay,
that's where the stress is lying right now,
and one right here, so it's like lined up together.
Okay, that's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, man, we definitely again welcome you, and always a pleasure to speak with you. Kind of, I guess speaking of your heart, man, what's on your heart? What's on your mind before we, kind of get to the brother Blake? That's of course the topic of we definitely want to dive into. But what else is on your radar?
Man, really, we focusing on this BAA firearm safety and law instructional course that we're doing on the 18th.
Yes, sir.
Um, because I'm a firm believer that we can't keep waiting on somebody to rescue us, so we need to be able to carry weapons, but carry them safely. And
Mm.
so I teamed up with a bunch of brothers, the 300 Protective Group, One Security Solutions, and there's one other guy here that we teamed up with to make sure that we are providing the community with the resources that they need to and Alpha Weapon Security. There it is, to make sure that they get the information that they need in order to carry a firearm safely and protect themselves. I just think that's really important. And then, of course, we got Dr. Umar coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, that's a highlight. I've been speaking with this brother for a few years, actually about, I think 2016 or something. He came here when Sundiata brought him. So we kind of been in contact, but yeah, he took some pictures with me and my daughter and my son. We hoping to recreate that picture now, recreate it. Yeah, and I'm gonna give that brother some of that hood streetwear,
Yeah.
make sure he leave the town with some stuff from the town.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah.
Hey, brother, looks like you locked up on our end over here. Your internet a little bit. So when you open up Windows, sometimes that the internet get a little jumpy.
Oh,
Yep.
that's what I did. That is
There,
just what
there
I
you go.
did.
Now you
Oh
back.
man,
Go.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is what I did. Open up
Yeah.
Windows.
Them Windows be jacking you up, man.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, you got some good. I'm glad you brought those things up, man. We've been talking about them in the haps, of course. Shout out to you and brother Kasim for helping us have brother Umar, Dr. Umar on,
Mhm.
and that was incredible. We'd love to have him on again in order to promote when he finally does come and encourage everybody to get their tickets. I think this is gonna be one of them sold out situations. Every time I go to
Man.
barbershop or anywhere, they're like, "Heard Dr. Umar coming. Let me get them tickets to come through." So
Yeah. That's what we
Absolutely.
need. That's what we need.
yes, sir.
Absolutely. And we also got the opening of the Essential Shop right there off of 4924 Ames, where you'll be able to purchase all of your local brands in one building.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Shouts out to Stacy McLean for putting that together.
okay, I didn't know.
Beautiful.
I knew
Beautiful.
Stacey McLean was doing. I didn't know that was something that you guys had a hand in too. You guys are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
what's the address again?
4924. Let me just make sure I don't mess up nothing here. 4924 Ames Avenue.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what's
The
up.
Essential Shop.
The Central.
So yeah. Yeah, and it's Shawnee's up there. The Sea Moss lady gonna be there. Cynthia Mouse, she gonna be up there. I seen a few people that's gonna be up there. Blessed Life, Creative Ways, man.
Good.
A lot of positive people in the community coming together in one building to showcase our talent. So I
Beautiful.
appreciate Stacy for including us or inviting us to be a part of something like that. So,
That's what's
Man.
up.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asking hours of operation. You know what hours they'll be open?
hours of operation, not sure. I will keep y'all updated.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I think once she get everybody in there, we was a little extra. I thought they were. She said she was doing a grand opening, but it was really just a tour of the place. I hurried up and brought stuff, so I was the only one in there with some stuff already set up.
Just ready to go with it.
I was ready. I didn't know what to expect. So yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what's up.
Okay. Well, in the midst of all that, I guess we can go ahead and dive into it because I know you're heavy and a lot of other work and still pushing and leading the charge, dealing with brother Blake again, Mr. Levi Blake. Some might know him as Capone. Has been missing for quite some time now. And since then, it's kind of interesting. Again, that is, as you might know, I'm in the family. Again, a shout out to Miss Shonda, my mother-in-law, the daughter of Mr. Levi Blake. And hearing just kind of the comparisons that she's making. We've seen several other people go missing, and how the powers that be, if you will, have responded. And I know you've been in contact with some of those powers that be, if you will. So can you kind of give us an update as far as what's going on with the situation? Again, for those who don't know, Mr. Levi Blake went missing sometime in September. He's dealing with dementia, and can you kind of pick it up from there?
Yeah, so Mr. Levi Blake, this is one of those special cases. Um, Shonda, I've been knowing her since middle school or high school, and so she called me. By the time she contacted me, it was August 31st. So he had already been missing since August 17th, and they had not even gotten a hold. Like the detectives had not gotten a hold of them yet. And so when I came into the picture, it was we don't know what the police are doing, what's going on. So of course, being the liaison, even though I have my reservations about the police, I always am able to put my personal stuff aside to be a liaison for families that can to get the communication going with the police. So that's what I came in and I did. And yeah, we went right into it. Miss Monique Summer, shout out to her. She was running some searches. I joined in making the posters, the flyers, and as a team, a community, we've all been just like doing our parts to keep the story alive and keep the awareness alive. So what I did just recently was met up with Detective Brett Schrage, and he is the one in charge of the case. He's with missing persons, the OPD. We sat for 3 hours the other day, and we chatted. Of course, it was really just debriefing each other on both of the work that we have done, me as a community member and him as a law enforcement person. And we brought all our information together, and I had an idea of a citywide search. So I brought the idea to him. We talked it out, worked out the wrinkles. And so today at 1 o'clock, we'll be holding a press conference to announce it to the city that we are doing a citywide search on Thursday. No matter what time, we just want the residents to take time out of their day to go through the city and look in your neighborhood and look in the places that's not as frequently visited. That way we can have an effort of everyone going out and searching their neighborhoods, because at this point we really don't know for sure where Mr. Blake is.
Mm-hmm. And can you kind of speak to why this approach is being taken now as opposed to a lot earlier in the game? As we know, somebody goes missing, time is of the essence. So can you kind of speak to, I guess some of the challenges with that process, or what's really going on? Why now?
So let's put it like this. If y'all seen Channel 6 story this morning or last night, it says Omaha authorities urge the community to assist in the search for a missing man, which is absolutely the opposite, where it's the community urging the police to help assist with the missing.
There you go.
Okay, so let's keep that part for real. Last week, I messaged a bunch of people to see if they could put together a video, a 30-second video. And this 30-second video was just them expressing how they felt about the process of searching for Mr. Blake. So when we put that together, it ended up being 14 minutes and 44 seconds of people having their feelings voiced. And that video is probably at about 1.5 thousand views and 100 and something shares. And this meeting came along, and here we are. But it was a thought from me to make this happen. It wasn't a police effort. So if you talk about why it hasn't happened so long, it's because we have to keep their foot to the fire and hold them accountable for the job that they're paid to do. And so the more that we as a community, I know this scientifically, the more that we voice our opinion and be a thorn about it, then it'll keep getting noticed. If none of us was saying nothing, then it'll be let's just wait, and see what happens type thing.
Yeah.
So
You got to keep media pressure on them too. You can't just call them up. You got to be embarrassed in order to do. You got to do some time.
Yeah.
Yep. And so when I seen the headline, I'm not really tripping, because for one, I know the truth, and it at this point it don't really matter who came up with it. I just want to see his name still being on the news. I want to make sure that people are still understanding that he's missing. And anything that anybody can do to help find him is the most important thing right now. We can hash out all the failures and drops that happened during the time, but right now my main focus is really just finding him, bringing him home to his family, good or bad.
That's what's up.
Okay.
Hey, Kimmer's in the chat saying, Sherman, let me see how we can use our communications to support with that. This is a phenomenal idea. And same here, man. We definitely want to use whatever we got, tools we got to support this effort as well. I'm putting the new flyer up here. This is the call. This is the call for action here throughout Thursday, November 16th, which is tomorrow. The Omaha community, in collaboration with Omaha Police Department Missing Persons Unit, urges all residents in the metro area to allocate time from their day to canvass their neighborhoods, especially in less frequented areas. This collective endeavor is aimed at locating the missing persons 80-year-old Mr. Levi Blake, who suffers from dementia and has been missing since August 17th. Your assistance in this joint effort is crucial in the search for Mr. Levi Blake. And we can start using the hashtag "Where is Mr. Blake" from now on. And of course, you got a number there you can call if you got any information: 402-444-4123.
Yes.
So yeah, man. Yeah, we definitely gonna try to do our part, man. Just Omaha. Sometimes when you think about somebody being lost, Omaha can look like a big place, can feel like
Oh
a big
yeah,
place. Then
It
that's
does.
that's
definitely.
somebody coming from big town California. So I want the time that I feel like this is a big sprawled out area is when something like this is happening. Somebody's missing, and we don't know where they at. We got to try to find them. And now it's like looking every nook and cranny in the city and try to see what you can see.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
unfortunately, I know you kind of mentioned again where your focus is, but I am going to point to it, man. Again, the fact that it took so long for this to respond, that search could have been a lot more focused, a lot
Uh,
more, you
sooner.
know, yeah, sooner. It would have made things a lot easier. So definitely, hopefully, we will find Mr. Blake very soon and can kind of turn our attentions to to the systemic shortcomings, because that's kind of what we're about here on First Sky Omaha. Like, there are people in place to do it's people's jobs to make sure this type of stuff doesn't happen. It's people's jobs, to make sure that this is accounted for.
Yes,
So,
sir.
you know,
And honestly, let's be 100. The emergency system that could have been used for Mr. Blake the day he went missing, that was a complete failure. Saying he didn't qualify because he wasn't listed as a 24-hour care patient, when in reality, if you read the standards or the qualifications, it was age, weather, and he qualified for both of those, and then a medical condition. And if you look at the breakdown on the Nebraska State website, Nebraska State Trooper website, he technically did qualify for all that. So then the question comes back to, why wasn't it used, the system, emergency system, to announce Mr. Blake's missing, which would have enabled more officers to jump on the ball with looking for him and announce it to the community the same day. What we got here was a week later, the community was told Mr. Blake was missing. Um,
Who
and
dropped the ball there?
Well, when you look at it, the police have the resources. They have the ability to declare it a missing person. So, I mean, but they saying it's because he wasn't listed as a 24-hour person. But on the website, that is not a part of the criteria.
Right.
It doesn't say this person has to be listed. It said that if it's a weather condition, age, if you think it's something based off his age, or a health condition. And so with him having dementia, it was hot outside, and he's 80. All of those should have warranted that emergency response system right away instead of this weak thing.
yeah, it wasn't just hot. It was, if I remember correctly, like record highs, like 114, 117, 120 feel outside.
Yes, sir. Definitely some heat advisories. And so that was the disappointing part. And then we started having some conflicting stories on when he actually went missing. And so I had to dive into that. Really, I did. Somebody asked me the other day, are you a private investigator? I said, I don't know.
Sherman PI.
Sherman PI. But I really dug into this because, for one, I look at Mr. Blake, and that could have been my father, uncle, any one of us. And if it's any one of y'all, just so y'all know, anybody listening, if anything happens while I'm in this state of Nebraska, in Omaha, and it's one of y'all missing, I will put the same effort into finding any one of y'all, because that's how we supposed to love on each other, man.
There you go.
Y'all part of the community. We a family. We got to look for each other. We can't just let one of us go missing and nobody knows nothing.
Man.
And I'm gonna go on to say it, especially in this climate, bro. If it had been a white dude, it would not have been. It would not have been handled the same way. So it was one of us. We already know we're gonna get less police activity, less powers that be making this a big deal. And unfortunately, we got to kick in ourselves. But I want to get back to this point that you use the media, though. to get to kick the police in the ass is really what happened.
Man.
You got to embarrass them. And so tell me at which point did things change as far as your communication with the police? What pressure that happened right before they finally called you back?
Well, it was a few things. So there was one time before when we were communicating with the detective. It was the second detective by then. When I got involved, it was another detective, and we communicated with him for a little bit. Then he took like 2 weeks where he didn't say nothing, and they were saying they had these videos, and so I had to go to the police department in rare form. I have multiple personalities, so I showed up as Sherman, the activist, and I was there, and I told him, I'm not leaving. You're gonna have to arrest me because I'm not leaving until I find out what videos you have of Mr. Blake. And they kept telling me the detective that worked in the case, he's not in till Wednesday. It was a Monday. I said, I don't care who's there, his boss, anybody, I'm not leaving. Write up the warrant, write up whatever, ticket, anything, I'm sitting here. So it took that, and I was there for probably about 2 hours. Finally got somebody to come down, but look at how divine it worked. So Mr. Levi's son was actually supposed to be at work. Instead of him going to work, he met me at the police department. Well, while we're sitting there, Channel 3 called him and said they wanted to come interview him, and they was going to come to his job. And he said, no, come to the police department because that's where I'm at. So when the police noticed the news out in front, that's when one of the major detectives came down, and he was looking out the window like, I wonder what this guy is doing out here with the news. I said, he with me. He like, oh, and I said, he said, can I help you? Because I was looking really crazy. I had my mug face on. And he like, can I help you? I said, yeah, well, they seems like nobody around here knows how to do their job. And I'm here to get answers, and I'm not leaving until I get them. So we got to talking. And then that's when I discovered that there was discrepancies in these videos. From that point on, when I got home and reanalyzed all the information, then I made the call to the chief. I just skipped everybody because the actual detective told me, this is not how things work. You got to wait until we do this, do that. I said, you don't tell me how nothing works. I'm done talking to you. Click. So then I talked to the chief, and then the next day he called me back. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to add 3 new detectives to the case, and that's where we at right now.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Power of the media, bro. Power. I'm trying to tell you, this is it. We talk about Fourth Estate. This is another piece of power that they can have. They don't like being embarrassed. They don't like being called out. Nobody does. And the media and news and journalism is the only thing that calls people out like this. In that way, you see the news truck pull out in front of your joint. Now you
now you want to come down and see. And what's so funny about that? Even though the news came down, they asked to interview me and Terry. They only showed what Terry said because I was still in my moment, so they didn't show what I said, which is fine. But it still brought more attention to Mr. Levi. And really, when you do news interviews, if you say anything negative, what I'm learning, if you say anything negative about the police, most of the time they won't show it. So,
right.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So next time, call mine, and so I'll come down with the camera. We do what we gotta do. I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick, man. First of all, Kimmer says thank you for what you're doing, Sherman. I think everybody feels that way too, man, about the work that you're doing, and just thank you for doing that. Also, Real Kel is in the chat too.
Hey.
Man,
hey,
shout out. Brother Kasim is giving us a piece. Good morning to you, man. Peace. Appreciate you coming on in. Also, Kimber Snipe says neighbors checking their own areas and homes is so smart. Yeah, man, you ain't got to go too far out. But also, she says she's asking the question, Sherman, do you think he may have left North O? Hence a citywide search, perhaps.
I just don't want to leave nothing unturned. Actually, even next month, I'm going to Chicago, where he's from. Because I need to put that community on notice. I know he has taken that trip many a times driving like the back of his hand. He was a driver. That's what he did. Okay. And I just don't want to leave nothing unturned. So he got family there. I'm going to go there for a week. Put the Peoria, Illinois police on notice, put some flyers up, and talk to his family to get a feel of what Mr. Blake's mindset was like, from his close family. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna be running some funding campaigns for that because I do need a little more money to get there and be there successfully as a representative from Omaha, looking for one of our own. So
Mhm.
when I do that, I will let y'all know. But yeah, I need
It's
to get
funny.
there because I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm covering everything, you know. So the
No, that's
citywide search idea was just because we've checked North Omaha like a lot, and I think now it's time for the community to police everybody to just look in your respectful neighborhoods. And when you do the search, we are asking if you are an internet person that you use the hashtag "Where is Mr. Blake" and post your pictures and videos of the area you search, so we can kind of create a virtual map of the areas that people
Mm.
searched,
That's
and that
genius.
will help us. That's going to help me be able to figure out who covered what. I can see the areas. Because I mean, it's just strategy. And so this whole time with Mr. Blake's case, the biggest challenge has been keeping it alive, keeping using my platform and resources and my energy to keep the attention on Mr. Blake. I know a lot of people saying we don't see it on the news, only on social media or only on your page. I mean, as long as you see it is all I care about. And
Right.
we got to keep that part going. And that's why it's just really important to me. Shonda, I never forget the day I got that call. So I just want to stay focused on making sure we do this because it's starting to remind me of. I know y'all mentioned Project Nose. That's Robert Wagner, keeping North Omaha safe for everyone. And
Mhm.
I've been a part of that group since way back in the day. And
Mm.
when Miss Kamisha Hollins went missing,
Man.
Robert, man, that's still his profile picture. He said he's never going to change it until she's found. And we ran into so many blocks when we was looking for her, and still don't know where she is, but we knew it was some foul play because they did find her blood under her refrigerator, like a drop of it or something. So we knew it was foul play. And Robert has reignited and been doing some more work with Project Nose. And if you notice, all of those grassroots organizations, Project Nose, North Omaha Community Partnership, and the Black Agenda Alliance, I'm a member of all those entities for a reason, because of the heart and the passion that aligns with each individual that started those groups. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's why we all continue to work towards the things that we're doing now. And I appreciate them more than they know, you know.
Man. Yeah. Yes.
It's funny. I was going to ask you how you funding trips to Chicago and stuff like that. I'm glad to hear that you're going to have a fund out that we can, for those of us that can't roll with you, we can at least help monetarily. For people that want to do this work, man, take that time. We got to work. We all got jobs. We all got bills to pay. But we also need something going on in our neighborhoods that with people that are willing to go out and do this. So we need to support them.
Yeah.
Amy H. Dot in the chat says Sherman Wells PI has a great ring to it. So, link up with the BAA and no more dependence on police investigating. Yeah,
There you go.
Right.
There you
they
go.
They need to do their job. We need to push them to
Right.
investigate, but we can't depend on it all the
That's
time.
right. And that's why we have to do what we're doing, because, easily we could have been like, okay, the police is investigating. Now we don't need to do nothing. No, they did their investigation. We did our investigation. And when me and Brett met up, we put everything together and came to some similar conclusions. But the city search thing, when I brought him the idea, I mean, you got to look at it from their standpoint too. They want to do something with the community to save a little face. We all
Oh, yeah.
know what happened. And so this is a save face, that putting that article out one day before we actually have the press conference to say that they're calling on the community. When in reality, if you watch that 14-minute and 44-second video, it's the community calling on the police to do more. And he did sit and he watched the whole thing, arms folded, but it was okay. He sat and watched it. And afterwards, he just, we talked. And that was the first thing. If he didn't want to watch it, our meeting would have been over.
Yeah.
I said, I need you to sit down and watch what the community is saying about Mr. Blake.
But as a videographer, I used to have a video business, so I put videos together all the time. And the difference between a 3-minute video and a 14-minute video
Man.
is huge. When I heard this story, that first I thought it was a 3-minute video. I was like, he can sit through that. But if he can sit through a 14-minute video and listen to testimony after testimony, then he's actually listening. You know what I'm saying? It's the difference if you sit there and sit through that. you're gonna be moved by minute 7 and 8. So by the
Mm-hmm.
time you get to minute 14, you really gonna understand what's going on and have some action plan in your brain. So I hope that's what happened. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
especially at the end when you got Shonda talking about her personal feelings and what she's going through with this
Yeah.
whole process. I do judge each person, or not really judge, but carry each person's character based off the individual, not a whole unit. So when you talk about the police department, like I said, respectfully to Todd for even reaching back and calling me back, and then for Brett for watching the 15-minute video. Although I think the policing in America needs to change the whole thing as far as that, but each individual and the way they do the policing is what determines my relationship with them. So where one detective I hung up on, the other one I talk to frequently, you know?
There you go. There you go. Also, Sister Gwen Easter in the chat with the idea she's presented
Yeah.
before, and I kind of want to reiterate while we're on here.
Do the same thing. I
Yeah,
like.
yeah, man. It seems just like this could definitely be a part of a legacy. Like the work that you're doing is almost historic. And Sister Gwen Easter in the chat saying, Sherman, we need to get the state to put together an elderly alert like the Amber Alert, and that's definitely something like I was just talking to an elderly man who just on the side of the street, just panhandling, but it just like man, what? How does an elder get there? Like, how do we protect and take care of our elders? So the work that you're doing, I could definitely see it growing, and people looking at what you're doing and developing systems, and really putting something together from the work that you're doing, and not falling on deaf ears, if you will. So we really, really recognize and appreciate what it is that you're doing, not just because it is close to home with Mr. Blake being basically my grandfather-in-law, but just protecting our elders, protecting, stepping up for the community.
Yeah, and the elders is very important because they are the ones who told us where we came from, and they continue to keep us grounded. I was talking about power, and whenever you're installing something, there's a power wire and there's the ground black wire. Our elders is the ground black wire, because even when you have all the power, without your ground, you ain't gonna operate.
Right.
So we have to stay grounded, and that's what our elders provide us: the grounding of our spiritual self, our true self, and we need them. So it's important.
That grounding is important to us too. Season 6, boots to the roots to get you on the ground. As a matter of fact, the first sky, the reason why I came up with the concept first sky is because that means your feet's on the ground. The first sky, when your feet's on the ground, is when we're looking eye to eye. Your head is in the sky, right? That level right there is where we need to look at each other. And that's what this is all about. And I love the fact that you guys got these organizations and the things that you're doing together to try to make something happen here. And I think it's a lot of times we get into creating our own, but we ought to figure out if somebody else is already doing it, just support that and become bigger as a group. So Ceci Jean says, yes, support the efforts of community groups. Each group mentioned is doing great things and require our support. Every little bit helps.
Yep.
So there you go. I want that to be a thing that we do here too, is really kind of big up the groups that are actually doing stuff, hold them accountable, and then show that and broadcast that out. Here's these groups that are doing these things. Let's support them. Let's send a couple bucks to them here and there. A little bit goes a long way when it comes to what needs to happen. So yeah, man, appreciate it very much, brother. Yeah, I almost forgot we was on the time here. It's 8:53. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're just joining us again, we got Brother Sherman Wells here. If you missed any parts of this conversation, you can go back and check it out on Facebook and YouTube. And again, here's the call to action right here. We're gonna put it up tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day that everybody needs to share in here. Throughout Thursday, November 16th, the Omaha community, in collaboration with the Omaha Police Department's Missing Persons Unit, urges all residents in the metro area to allocate time from their day to canvass their neighborhoods, especially in less frequented areas. This collective endeavor is aimed at locating the missing person, 80-year-old brother Levi Blake, who suffers from dementia and has been missing since August 17th. Your assistance in this joint effort is crucial in the search for Mr. Levi Blake. Use the hashtag #WhereIsMrBlake and look around your particular area. That's really what, if we all can get together and just look around our particular areas, then we can kind of come together. And like you said, use that hashtag #WhereIsMrBlake to show pictures of the areas that you covered. What else you want them to show on that hashtag?
Whether it's pictures, the videos, anything that can help us create a virtual map. So that way, because we've been sharing, me and the police officer, of the areas that we search. So we've already kind of got a map started of everything we searched in the Omaha area. So that's why it's just time to expand it. And I figured if we don't put together a party where everybody start in one place and we go out, just everybody from where you are, and it don't matter what time of the day, if you a morning, night person, whatever, just go out in your area on that day. We're going to dedicate that whole day to a search for Mr. Blake. And I'm glad that they jumped on board with it. The news, immediately I contacted them. They was all on board. And then it's just another way to get more attention to his story. I know a lot of people saying he hasn't been on the news a lot, but at the beginning he was. But the news, like Paul said, we have to create our own media. So the news is going to cover what's hot. And as soon as it get cold, then it's done. And so us talking about it here, me talking about it on my show, everybody having their platforms where we're still discussing Mr. Blake. I continuously make flyers and posters, updating them, making them look different, sharing them. Y'all doing a great job sharing, everybody sharing it. And I think that's how we create our own media to keep it going, what's important to us. You know?
Yeah, because it's still hot to us.
Oh yeah,
It's still hot to us.
Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, family's still impacted. So thank you. Yes,
And,
thank you.
I think too with somebody was asking about the cameras. I mean, when you living in 2023, you can't imagine somebody being able to go missing without being on camera.
Come on, man. That's crazy.
And that was a part of the initial start for us. And we've had conflicting information on that, where the day is, they're saying he went missing on the 17th, but the footage on the 17th from his building is not aligning with the day. And so now we are looking at maybe the 16th. We don't know yet. And so we are going back to phone records, to the initial cause of him being missing and different things of that nature. And that's what really made me call the chief, because whenever you start having conflicting stories, then something ain't right.
So
we're humans, we think, so we know.
And on that point, I am kind of curious. At any point throughout all of this, has there ever been a feeling, a discussion, a mention of possible foul play?
There hasn't. Well, there was in our last conversation, just to say that we are not taking it off the table, because neither one of us have, me or the detective, keeping it all. Just it's the gathering of the information to keep analyzing every possible scenario. And that is a scenario that's still on the table. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Well, we appreciate you, brother, very much. So once again, we want to make sure that we give a shout out to the events that you guys got coming up, the firearm safety and law instructional course. So you got a lot of people involved here. This is Saturday, November 18th. This is coming up Saturday.
Yep.
So if you need any information, where can they go for information on this? Let me see. Let's see. Where do they go for information on signing up for this, brother?
Well, you don't have to sign up. So this course is actually a free informational course. When you get there, you'll have Alpha Security and One Security Solutions, and the 300 group what is that? 300 Protective Group. They'll be there to tell you about their services and sign you up for, like, I think the One Security Solutions, he does the CCW classes, where Alpha, he does security training and things like that, but he don't do the classes, but he also do a lot of gun safety. He do gun cleaning. Then that's where you'll be able to sign up to get those services. We're not wanting people to bring their guns now or nothing like that. This is all about the information. We'll be discussing LB 77, the new law, and still encouraging you to get safety training, whether you get your CCW or not. Learn how to safely handle, store, carry your firearm. We don't want people shooting themselves, or your kids getting, shooting themselves or anything like that. So we encourage you to carry your gun, but do it safely. That's the main thing.
So that's Saturday, November 18th, coming up this Saturday at 2:30 to 5. Just go ahead and show up, 5001 North 42nd Street in Omaha. Definitely check that out. And then, of course, get your tickets for Brother Umar. Dr. Umar is coming through, man. December 2nd. Get your tickets early on this. I think it's going to sell out. So definitely check that out. And, of course, you can go to the BAA, the Cash App, which is # BAA Omaha for the Cash App, or you can do it by PayPal. That's info@BAAOmaha.com. Get your tickets, man. Let's come on through and support Dr. Umar coming to town, and also celebrate, man. It's the 4th year for BAA, so that's going to be celebration time as well.
Right.
So definitely come out and have some fun there. I wanted to ask you real quick about this one because I saw a flyer for November. Oh, this is the gun. Okay, this is the same one. This is just a different flyer for the gun.
Because we was going to do that on that day.
Okay.
But what we decided is, since we had the people contact us back about the gun safety, we decided to go with that first, and then we'll come back with another gang education.
Sounds good. And one last flyer to put up here, man, the Essential Shop.
The Essential Shop.
Yeah. What's the address on this again, bro?
4924 North 24th Street.
That's what's up. Let's definitely go check it out and support.
I mean, not 24th North, 4924 Ames Street. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm still on the deuce.
That'll work. I love the fact that it's all in the same shop, man. I gotta go give me some Island Chill for real.
Man.
Over there and get busy.
Get you a hoodie too.
Yeah, it was good seeing everybody last night. I haven't seen nobody since we've been outside, and so it was good to see everybody.
Hey man, shoot us the ad over here for your clothing line, bro, because I can see now that the more the clothing line that goes out, and the more people that grab some stuff, that's the more funds that you'll put in your pocket to go on trips and go look for Mr. Blake and all the things that you're doing. Sherman P.I.
Yeah, and I'm also drop my Cash App if anybody want to donate to that. I already booked my my hotel for a week in Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
And so I just need to rent my car and get there, be able to have some food and put up some flyers. I'm going to print the stuff while I'm there, take my staples, and I'm going to be in the streets,
Okay. Somebody actually laying a name down that you may be able to contact. Ernestine Jackson. Tony Johnson says Peoria NAACP. Ernestine Jackson, Peoria NAACP.
Okay, cool. And Tony, man, that dude is the truth, man. I love this brother, man. He always chiming in on stuff and providing me with some information. So I appreciate you, brother, man. Tony Johnson. Yes, sir.
There you go. I do have one last question. I know we're getting kind of long on time.
Yeah,
so
we already 9:01. What you got?
Just wondering what's going on with Amir Locke. I know y'all was working on a video, working on a documentary. Just any quick updates on that?
Any quick updates? His birthday just passed 11/11. He was born 11/11/99, and he was murdered 2/2/22. So he got some number games going on with the spiritualness. And so Amir is actually here with me now. He's here in everything that I do, and so I represent Amir because he's in my blood. So we did get his film done. It's been shown a few times. He is a part of that documentary, The Sound of the Police on Hulu, if you got time to check that out. And then No Knock, No Charge is the Amir Locke documentary. So you can check that out too. I got some flyers on my page and I can share with y'all in First Sky Group.
We need to do a screening over at Benson Theater for that, bro. Have a event go down for that.
Let's do that. It's very horrific. I will tell y'all that now. It's unedited police body cam footage of him being shot, wrestled to the ground, bleeding from the mouth, and taking his last breath.
Oh, man. Wow.
And still being handcuffed while he got holes in his body. So it definitely was the reaction in the theater when we all first seen it was the biggest scream of terror that I've ever heard in one building with a bunch of people. Man. So just be prepared for that.
Bro.
There you go.
Okay. On that note, we're gonna have to go ahead and let it go for today. But man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. It's imperative to us to keep these very important things front of mind. This is stuff that we're dealing with all the time. It feels like a war all the time that's going on, man.
It's war, bro. It's always.
So,
at 1:00 today, Assembly of the Saints, anybody who want to come be a part of the press conference, please come. So you, the concerned citizens in the video, if you wasn't in the video, it don't matter. 1:00, Assembly of the Saints, right on the deuce. We having the press conference with the police and the news about Mr. Blake.
So sounds good, man. Appreciate all your work, brother. We'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, peace, y'all.
All right, man. Peace.
There you go.
Sherman L. Wells. Sherman P.I.
Sherman P.I. Kimra, yeah, I'm sorry, y'all, if that got a little heavy. She says that you almost need to practice self-care after this show. The topics be so heavy, but that's a good thing. At the same time, take care of you, y'all. Definitely take care of yourselves. Kind of smell the coffee beans. I mean, sometimes we got to talk about the things that aren't being talked about. That's the the point. But yeah, definitely take care of yourselves. Maybe on Friday, get a load of that Andre 3000 album.
Andre 3000 dropping his album Friday. Not one rhyme on it. It's all flute music. Is the rumor. That's what word on the street is. So,
Man,
I'm gonna get it. I don't care what's going. I don't care what he does. I'm getting it. Andre
hey,
3000's top 5. If he wants to put a flute album out, let him go for it.
I mean, maybe that's what the Most High is putting on his heart, man. Maybe we all need a little flute therapy.
Come on, bro. I've been listening to Hubert Laws all week, just thinking about Andre's album coming out.
Come
So.
on, man. Maybe we all need a little flute therapy.
MEH Dot says, take care of yourselves. Appreciate that. Rome's Review says, may the world protect and send you blessings, Brother Wells. For real.
Yes.
Mr. Eric Felt, great guest, important information, food for thought. Thank you all. Thank you for all you do. Please drink water and be good to yourselves. Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate Whack Crew for having me be able to loosen up and have a night out with me not tripping. I tell you what, man, I finally got it. I felt like I had a night out. I felt like I had a good time and a night out for the first time in a minute without thinking about work and everything on my brain. So I felt good. I appreciate all y'all for that. Pop says, thanks for yet another phenomenal show. Can't wait to see you all again on Friday. Appreciate you, Pops. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Again, a big shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling and brother Sherman Wells PI. That's what we're gonna call him now. That's what it is. But no, we definitely appreciate those brothers for the work that they're doing, for taking time from that work to come and speak with us and kind of give us an update on what's going on. Big shout out to all of you out there, chat charmers, ghost listeners, first time listeners, last time listeners, everybody. Man, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Again, continue to tell a friend and tell a friend. We're growing, going into season 7, year 4. So yeah, man, we really appreciate the growth and support that we've been receiving, and hopefully we'll continue to do so. So yeah, big shout out to all of you, and yeah, take care of yourselves, man. I don't know, maybe this was a pretty heavy day. I don't know, barring anything, needing our discussion happens between now and Friday, but I don't know, maybe we try to keep it loose on Friday. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
see.
Yeah. In the meantime, between time, man, take care of yourselves. Check on your loved ones, check on your elderly, especially as temperatures drop. And with that, Paul B. In the meantime, between time, take it away.
Right on. Zane says, hello, what's up, dude?
The dude.
With you soon. Appreciate you coming on. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to everybody who's on the show and came to check it out. If you missed any parts of this show, definitely check it out on Facebook or YouTube. Go to YouTube especially, and go ahead and like and subscribe over there. We're definitely looking at putting more, making some changes on the chat and on all kinds of things that have to do with us. More stuff coming on season 7. Stay tuned for that. Very excited about the changes and things that are coming up that we're working on now. So I'm glad that you guys were hanging with us. We really appreciate everybody that is doing that, and just appreciate you. So we also appreciate the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. We want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And we want to give a shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you on all these very heavy, deep and important subjects and topics, trying to get a grasp on how it is that we think, what it is that we feel, and what kind of action our feet are going to take. It's season 6, Boots to the Roots. Please join your neighborhood association or start one if you don't have one in your area. And let's be a part of making some change around here with everybody, with each other, living alive with each other. We're going to go ahead and get out of here and let you get on about your day. We'll see you Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. You guys take care of yourselves. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the Red